Hey guys, Josh Conan, strength and conditioning coach here, competitive edge, skating and strength training. If you had to guess the two biggest detriments that we see in athletes, what would you think they are? Skill, talent, commitment. While all these things are sometimes a detriment, the two biggest things we see is mindset and their wrong intention with training. So mindset can be linked to one thing, and that is your breath. In his book, 8 Weeks to Seal Fit, Commander Mark Divine lays this out perfectly in one of his chapters. He says, we need to prepare your mind to be an ally rather than an enemy. How often are you in a tough situation and you're telling yourself you can't do something, or this is too hard and you want to quit? He goes on to say, deep breathing controls your mental and physical responses. So how do we work on this? He says, one ordinary moment at a time, using extraordinary effort. It's that conscious effort all the time. So in our training, when we have the time under tension, when you're holding that barbell on your throat in a front rack position, waiting for your teammate to finish, are you breathing deeply and focusing on helping that person get through it? Or you're just sitting there thinking, I can't breathe, my heart rate's too high, I can't hold this. That's emotional resiliency that we talked about in last week's video, but that is controlled with your breath. In your breath, the more you're focused on your breath, the more you're going to be aware of your thoughts and shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. He lastly says, true warriors through the ages have discovered this secret. You must win the first battle in your mind to win every other battle in life. And that's so key in any endeavor, whether in hockey or just relationships and business. You must win first in your mind and be your greatest ally versus your greatest enemy to get to where you want to go. So that leads into the second thing, which is the wrong intention for training. In his book, Becoming a Supple Leopard by Dr. Kelly Starrett, he lays this out perfectly. He goes on to say, our previous model of strength and conditioning was predicated on the fact that if you were just stronger and fitter, you'd be a better athlete and better at your chosen sport. Clearly, that's not true, as injury rates in children and athletes continue to increase. How often do you think people go into the weight room saying, if I increase 5 pounds in this lift, I'm a better athlete and stronger and fitter? That's not the case, because it doesn't matter how much you do, it's how well you move, and that's going to translate over. He goes on to say, to prevent these injuries, we need a tool to make the invisible visible. We need to bring athletes into the gym to assess their movement patterns before the catastrophic occurs. That's why we are so big on movement here, and why we have 8th graders currently lifting more than junior and college players, because they came in focusing on the movement rather than these players coming in and having to regress their weights, which they get upset about because they're not moving with good technique, which is going to lead to injury or tightness in tissues where you shouldn't be tight, which is also going to increase the risk of injury. So he goes on to say, by consistently and systematically exposing athletes to the rigors of full range movements and optimal human motor control, we're able to quickly identify force leaks, torque dumps, bad technique, motor inefficiency, poor integrated movement patterns, holes in strength, speed, and metabolic conditioning, and restrictions in mobility. Best of all, the tool we use to detect and prevent injury is the same tool needed to improve an athlete's performance. The middle-aged tore my heel cord syndrome is a lot less likely to happen if an athlete's ankle is regularly exposed to full ranges of motion and movements like one-legged squats or overhead squats. So this is why we focus so much on movement rather than weight, because if your tissues are prepared in that full optimal range of motion, you're not going to get injured because you're prepared for that. And that's when the strength's going to come, after you focus on the technique and movement. And that's where a lot of people don't have the ideas, because they come in, they just want to lift the heaviest weight as possible, and they think that's going to increase their performance. While lifting heavy will, it doesn't matter if you're injured. So the two biggest detriments, to recap, that we see is in their mindset, which is linked to breathing, which is why we start and finish our sessions with box breathing, and the inability to focus on their movement patterns because they just want to focus on strength. So if you guys want to reach your full potential, make sure you go to our website at ceskating.com. Sign up for our Sunday email. This is where you get words of wisdom for your week, as well as our training and class schedule for the entire week. Also, make sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.